Yo, yo, yo. Thank you so much for tuning in to Conversations with Glo radio show, which is sponsored by Conversations with Glo podcast. And y'all already know that is with a K and definitely not with a C. And if you want to know more information about Conversations with Glo radio show and about the podcast, please visit convowithglo.com. So therefore, you can sign up for the emailing list. Oh, and you can also have a conversation with me. And you can also see about being on Conversations with Glo radio show. And also sign up for the emailing list. So therefore, you can get future information about me, your girl Glo, and also the future guests that I will also have coming on this show as well. Okay, y'all. Okay. So make sure y'all go over and to convowithglo.com and sign up for the emailing list. All right. All right. But anyway, enough about me. I'm going to have my guest go ahead and introduce herself. And then y'all already know what we're going to do. Get into the conversation.
Thank you, Glo, for having me. My name's Calissa. I go by Coach Callie, and I'm a mental health specialist. My background is in nursing. I've been doing mental health about 10 years now. And currently, as a family nurse practitioner, I'll do personal mental health one-on-one sessions. And that's where my background is. I've been doing nursing about 15 years now. So my heart is in the mental health side of it, again, holistic of the mind and the body.
That's really dope, Calissa, because you want to know something. I knew that like you work in like the field with like with the nurses and stuff, but I didn't know anything about you being a life coach or anything about holistic or anything like that. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the conversation as y'all already probably have done caught on. We're gonna be talking about holistic healing, basically that is blending in with mental health within the Black community. And when I was talking to Calissa, she had a lot to say, and I was just like, wow, like it was a very very interesting conversation. So I'm going to allow for Calissa just to start it off, and y'all already know how I'm gonna put my 2 cents in. But go ahead and tell us more about that, Calissa.
So I think the interesting thing, like I am in a medical, so I start out in nursing and physical, do a lot of medication, but I notice when you're actually trying to get a patient to understand what's going on, there mentally has to be some kind of baseline there. So you
Mm-hmm.
can't really do anything to treat a patient if you cannot mentally. And of course, we know that the mental health is rising, not only in the Black community, but we just seem to be not the ones to seek out help as more as therapists, or it's not as been as cool, or it's we have stereotypes as, if you, especially guys, right? If they kind of
Right.
talk about their feelings, we say they're soft kind of thing. So in the mental health settings, I had harder times with the Black patients because they would not open up, or they wouldn't say what's wrong, or they would portray it as it's just okay, kind of thing, which kind of got me into the life coach, because I just felt like maybe we didn't open up because we didn't see us on the other end of
Mm-hmm.
you can't relate to me kind of thing. And when I kind of took more time with them, they would open up and we kind of would relate. And that's the thing, we did relate because just in our culture was similar.
What makes you think why they didn't open up? Like, what would be their main reason as to why they wouldn't open up at first?
Well, I talked to a lot of patients, and some are not even patients, just coworkers. And I mean, we have history why we don't trust the healthcare system. So it's some
Mm-hmm.
truth to it. Also, I get a lot of patients who say, I don't want to open up to someone who don't look like me, or someone's not really wanting to help. They just want to give me medication.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Mm-hmm.
fear of whoever's on the other end, are they really here to help? Kind of thing. So why am I going to open up and they're not going to do anything is really what I get a lot from the males. Most of the time, I can get a female to open up quicker, but Black
That's
males
what
are
I was
like,
getting ready to say.
yeah, yeah.
Because
Most females are
females
like,
be ready, because I only say that because I actually went to go see a therapist like a couple of weeks ago, due to a situation that had happened like back in November of last year. And I had went to go talk to a therapist about it. And I've noticed but the therapist, he was a white male. And because it was someone that my doctor had referred me to, and I was just like, next thing you know, I just started running my mouth. And I was just like, I didn't want to run my mouth at first. And then I started running my mouth. And then he had mentioned something like, what he wanted to talk about next time. And I got out of there and I went to go call my mom. I was like, he want to talk about this the next time. I don't know. I don't know if I want to talk about that. But is holistic healing different from, so okay, what is the holistic healing going to do as far as like with the mental health? I know, like, okay, for those that does not know what holistic healing is, can you explain that to the people that are listening, and then coincide it with the mental health?
So when you see holistic, that means that most likely the therapist or the physician has combined your physical with your mental. So it's the whole body. A lot of times you go to the doctor, we directly talk about, your blood pressure, diabetes, those kind of specifics. But when you go holistic, we start from the top to the bottom. So that goes in how are you feeding your mind? So that's the mental side, or what environment is interfering with how your mind works. And then we look at what are you eating, what are you drinking, what are you putting in your body, and how does that impact the overall health of you. So it's just a whole body view, which a lot of times, if you ever went to the doctor, they'll say, well, they only talked about this, they only addressed it this, but I
Mm-hmm.
got so much more going on. And it's different restraints to that time frames, but we look at the whole body. But the reason it ties so well in mental health, again, if you mentally can't see yourself different, or if you're not feeding yourself the right food, you're not going to respond in the most healthiest way,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So, and that's kind of how I got out of, I still do tradition medicine. I just don't get the best result if I don't look at the whole body, because I would say, for example, say if you are in a bad relationship, right? Me giving you medicine doesn't change that relationship. So coming to see me and saying I'm suffering from depression and I give you a pill, I didn't do anything to support your environment or your mindset.
Exactly.
And I ran into
Exactly.
that when I was doing directly mental health. People would call it real stories, and from that environment, I just had to treat with medicine. I couldn't address other issues. Is why I kind of went off to holistic and
So
doing
that's
that.
what made you want to go into the holistic, because you wanted to address more of what's going on, because you knew that the pill wasn't just going to fix whatever. Because it's, like, even like with the relationship, within that relationship is you in the relationship. So you also you got to work on yourself while
Mhm.
you in that relationship. And just popping that pill and making you basically feel like a zombie is not going to be able to fix the relationship, because then it's going to cause problems as to why you being a zombie and stuff like that. Because I'm just going to say, just from a point of view with a friendship, because again, that's still a relationship.
Yes, it
I
is.
can remember well, I just talked about this too, like when my mom was shot 9 times, and with her being shot 9 times, I was the one that actually had to take care of her. And I ain't gonna say like it took a toll on me, but you know what I'm saying, it was kind of sort of like some real, it was more of like, it was draining kind of. So where I did go is that I did go to the Carolina Behavior Center. With that, I guess, like with the person that I did have at first, he was more of wanting to get into, like we did exercises, I guess, in order for us to actually figure out like what's going on in our minds and things as such. But they also wanted to actually put you on medication as well too, like, oh, you depressed, or like you have anxiety and stuff like that. Boom. This was before I just actually just knew where like anxiety came from, and before I actually got in my word, which is the Bible more, or any in things as such. And with that, it was, I can remember one day I had took my medication for, like, I guess it was either it I never claimed depression. Even when, like, I possibly could have saw signs when I wanted my room to be pitch black dark, didn't know why. Wanted my room to be pitch black dark and wanted to sleep all day and stuff. Like, now that I've gotten older and have realized, like, oh shoot, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
were signs of depression. I never just read was like, oh, I'm depressed, because I still got up and washed my ass. I still got up and took care of my child. I just wanted to be in a dark room and just want to sleep all day with the TV on, and and get up and I felt like I was doing what I was satisfied. But when I say when I it was depression. But anyway, when I had took that pill that day, I was I was with my best friend, and she was like, I don't like your attitude. Like, she had asked me a question, and I don't like your attitude. And I was like, but I to be honest with you, I really didn't have an attitude. It was the way that my body was reacting to the medication
yes,
that I had took. And when she said that, Calissa, I was just like, you know what? I don't want to take this no more.
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't want to be on it. And then when somebody had told me that the medication that I was taking was going to become addictive, when my doctor told me that it's not addictive, and then I trusted this person. I knew what she was talking about, because
yes,
she's more like you are now. Like, she's in the holistic healing and stuff. And I was like, oh no. And I poured my medication in the toilet, and I was just like, no, I didn't want to do that no more. As a matter of fact, dang, it's getting ready to be 4 years, March, since I've done that. That's
yeah.
crazy.
That's
Mhm.
wonderful because that's the first thing. And like I said, I'm in the field, so I do know they recommend placing you on something. If it's an emergency, if your blood pressure is really high, I'm gonna give you medicine. But
Mhm.
if you an emergency, I'm gonna offer it. But I let my patients know up front, this is not gonna cure you. Like, I can take the edge off. However, it's gonna come with. But if I had to recommend medication or therapy, I'm going with therapy.
Okay. What do you recommend? I understand that you also mentioned that, it also comes with, because it, it does come with a healthy diet. And those that want to actually heal, what is considered like a healthy diet to you when it comes to people that's wanting to actually work on their mental? They're not wanting to lose weight, they just wanting to work on their mental. So what would be a healthy diet to you?
So really, when I start out, I know it's kind of hard changing diet. We've been doing our diet this way our whole life.
Mhm.
So it's funny, but I recommend water is the key. Not water only. I mean, no more anything. Like, say I'm going to eat whatever I want, right? But I can only have water. Not only does it stop you from the sugar drinks that we drink, it also make you make a clear decision. So that's discipline. Because if you cannot set a goal for yourself and keep it, it's going to be hard for us to do anything forward. So I
Mhm.
always say, okay, whatever you drinking, I want you to replace with water. Some people can't do it. So then I'll do things like, well, if you want a Sprite, you got to drink 3 waters before you get your Sprite. And it still allowed this person to gain some control over their diet. And that kind of how you go from there. So once we do that, and I always said it for 30 days. Once you do your 30 days, we're going to start changing a food. So, or add a fruit. Just, you got to have a fruit each day. That's it. And eventually, as this person is doing it, they're gaining control over their diet and their mental is clearing up by what they're
Mhm.
eating, and they're gaining confidence by the decisions, and they know they got to win each day as
Mhm.
they do it. But if they skip a day or so, I tell them, we don't, okay, that was yesterday. It's still better to eat fruit 5 days than no days.
Right.
So you still
Right.
can win and all of it. So we do really small steps in it. And that's the only reason I know that, because that's what I do for me. If I get on soda too much, I'm like, okay, cut it out. Let's get on your water kind of thing, or cut back in some way. But just starting out, making a great decision, knowing it's a healthy one, most people gain it. And then holistically, we go into diets that they like. So I'm not really into don't eat this. It's just your portion.
What would you recommend for the men out there that is, well, let me take that back. I'm sorry. I think water is really good. Sometimes I may drink a tea here and there, whatever, but I just, yeah, like I, I agree with what you're saying. Like with drinking water, it will allow for you to actually make a clear decision. Like I've noticed a lot, like within myself, since I have been on like a losing weight journey for like the past 6 7 years or whatever. And I actually, when I incorporated water in my diet, and I was just like, I'm gonna just drink water. And once I've learned that, like my conscience became better in regards with my decision making, being that you have pointed that out. That is a real good takeaway in regards with that, because if you are drinking all this soda and juices and Kool-Aid and all that or whatever, it's nothing but sugar. So therefore you're doing nothing but just clouding your mind with what with basically what you have to choose, and it makes it harder for you to actually make a decision. I like that, Calissa. I never thought of that. I like
And it's
that.
amazing. We talked about God. I'm like, he's so simple. He gives us water. We get other things, but his way is so simple. It's just, I don't blame us at all. And I know we take accountability, but we
Mm-hmm.
have history of
Mm-hmm.
people intentionally allowing us to do things or give us the wrong things and kind of thing. So our mindset has been actually intentional damage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard to reverse that over time. So you mentioned the males, and the males, are they I feel like more males are desiring to be healthier too, and they're not ashamed of it. So in our community, just black people at all, like, oh, I see a therapist. I see a therapist because I still have the systemic of everything else too. Either it was growing up, family, or just learning healthy relationship with your parents, right? We don't have the best parents, but how do I respect this person and still be in a good place for what they did?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
and I think that's where any patient, wherever you are, when you come, I meet you where you are. Because you may have a relationship with a spouse, you may be a friendship, it may be whatever, but the root of it usually comes from the same place.
Okay. And when it comes to the men, when they get the opening up to you, are they spilling out more than what the women? I'm just so nosy. Are they spilling out more than what the women would normally spill out, or is it still more of like a tippy toe situation once the male get the get to know you? I guess.
It's very interesting because if you look at a male and a female, they have very the same complaint. It just looks different.
Okay.
So when I say the root of it is most women, when I talk to them, they go back to their father. Most men is their mother. So once they actually start
Okay.
talking, they'll mention a lot about their girlfriend or anything, but we got to let's just kind of go back. How did you feel when you were little and stuff? And they'll really say, a lot of patients, when they talk, they'll say it. And the reason I say therapy is good for anybody, we don't assess ourselves. We don't have
Mhm.
time. We view our eyes are outward, right? We see everything else.
Mhm.
Therapy is the mirror to say, let's talk about you. And that's all
Mhm.
what therapy is. So I think people feel like they're just trying to get in my head. No, I'm really trying to get you to look in the mirror.
Okay.
Just because you get to observe everybody else and you don't spend time or take time for yourself. So I'm giving you the time to tell me whatever you want about yourself and whoever you thought didn't listen. That's all therapy does. And we have some skills, but it's really just saying you have a lot of time to really consider what you want.
Yeah, that just it's making so much more sense, because I did see I did used to see a counselor. My counselor actually helped me to realize a good bit about myself, to
Yeah.
be honest with you. But now that you said what you said about the therapist, and when I went to go see the therapist, and that's how he had got me to talking, because he was
Yeah.
like, yeah, so tell me how that made you feel.
Yeah.
You. And I was like, no, we ain't.
Yeah. And we are we are so experts on other people. We don't know it. And like when somebody really asks you what you think, I said I can take a room of 20 adults and that's what they really want. They don't know.
Right.
Just because they
Right.
haven't thought about it, right? They want whatever to see kind of surface, but if you really ask them to think about what they want, it'll get pretty quiet because they haven't thought
Hmm.
about what they wanted. And that's what's really sad about adulthood is life's so busy that you kind of forget about you. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the happier you are as a parent, as a friend, that rubs off everybody else. So it is tough. But that with males, it's like, they have to be providers, protectors, and they can't be
Mm-hmm.
weak. So they come in, they guard is it's a little stronger. Um, but they do call for a reason, and then eventually they do open up. And when they do, oh yeah, they talk.
Okay. Okay. Well, y'all heard what Calissa said. And before we even head on out, I just want to get my spiel, y'all. Like, y'all know that tonight with us talking about with the holistic healing, coinciding with the with mental health. What I would suggest for anybody that's out there, if you're trying to find a way to actually love on yourself, start with like a love jar. Y'all, I have a love jar. I done had this love jar now for like a year and a half now. And when I first made it, my intentions were to grab something out of there every week, to do something every week. And then I had to learn my capacity. And my capacity was like, well, you're not gonna be able to do all this every week. And then what I started doing was pulling two out of the love, two little sticky notes, what I have wrote on out the love jar every month, and I put it on my calendar, and it says things like take yourself on a lunch date or go on a lunch date with a friend or say five positive things about yourself or go buy yourself something nice. It anything with what you can write whatever you desire on these sticky notes. The only thing that I would suggest for you all to do is just to get that love jar and love on yourself, so therefore you can get to know yourself. And also with you getting to know yourself, well, I take that back. What will help you to get to know yourself is actually getting in your word more, which is with God, and also getting in the Bible a little bit more. And that will also help you to learn how to love yourself more, and also get into that love jar and just affirm yourselves daily. That helps with your mental as well too. Affirming yourself and believing in yourself and just knowing that you can achieve whatever that you are telling yourself. Okay? Okay, y'all, that was my spiel for tonight. But before we do head out, Calissa, can you please let the people know where they can actually find you at?
So on my website is at coachcallie.com. And so it's just very simple. It's Coach Callie. You can look it up. Also, I was going to say that they do have a site that's called Black Girl Therapy, and you can find a therapy locally, virtually, and some take insurance, some is self-pay. And also, if paying is a concern, Taraji P. Henson got her mental health thing going, and you can get 3 free sessions with therapists, a love voucher, and people can actually
Oh,
use that love voucher with a therapist. And that you can just look up Taraji P. Henson mental health, and this love voucher, you can use it in Black girls therapy. I'm looking for a good diverse for Black males. Also just males overall. I've had people reach out just for younger males like ADHD boys and stuff. And I do have some male psychologists. I just don't have a specific site, but I am working on that information as well.
oh my gosh, y'all, that's dope information. Okay, make sure y'all get in on this. Like, don't anybody needs it. Don't be afraid to go out and get it, especially if even if it is 3 sessions, you may not know how much you can get off your chest within 3 sessions. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, y'all. But again, Calissa, I do want to thank you so much for coming through and chopping it up with me, your girl Glo. And also for those that are out there listening tonight, I do want to thank y'all so much for tuning in. And also I do appreciate y'all for just supporting me and being there for me. But y'all already know what y'all can do within the meantime, between time. Y'all know where to catch me at. Peace out.
Thank you.